last thing we have on our list today is Bellon. So come on up, Ray.
Hey, hi.
If you do have time, I guess after Maria is finished, we'll have a few more spots for performers, but we're going to cap it at Ray, and then we'll have Maria Palencia. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. Thanks again to the VsA. I get to go to the Riders Texas League at the end of this month because of the VsA. Writing the book, and I get to rub elbows with editors and agents and things like that. This is not the book, right here. Here's a story I just started writing the other day. So here goes. I call this First Day in Heaven. And it's not done. It's going to end in mid-thought, but take it for what it is. Yes, sir, Mr. Parker. My first word spoken in heaven. At least it looks like heaven. I'm following after a man that appears to me to be every person that I've ever known. Right now, he looks and sounds like my operations officer on board the USS Albert David. I think he just told me to follow him, but I don't know why I think that. I don't remember hearing the words. So I tell him I will. I am to stick close to him. That's important somehow. Everything seems to be coming to me slowly and in pieces. Much less than an ocean, little more than inkling. Like pieces of a great wind, we both move in the only available direction. I stick close to now Mr. John, my day camp counselor, still 50 years old. The sensation of moving does not exist, yet movement there is. I assume that is because I expend no energy to move. My mind feels as if it's tumbling, but on the outside of my body, we keep a steady course. For all I can determine, we may actually be standing still while the entire universe is moving past us. That is, me and Mrs. Watkins, my third grade music teacher. I guess I might as well stop breathing. I lack the concentration. On each breath, I must actively stop my chest from expanding too far. Upon exhalation, my lungs stop so suddenly that it's disquieting. I don't seem to need the air, and if I am correctly interpreting Theodore's body movements, breathing is not necessary here. Theodore is one of the 5 brothers that lived on the farm next door to me back where I grew up. You will never see Ted without a smile on his face, and not only a smile, but the kind of smile that seems all too ready to burst into grin. This happens a lot in the heart of Dairyland. There are shapes or objects that exist around me. Their movement is not parallel to mine. Many of their paths intersect ahead and behind me. I notice them right away, I guess, but they have steadily increased their intensity and they are now more certain. What's more, I am just realizing that all these perceptions are occurring while my eyes are closed. I can't even open them when I try to, yet I see. It's a bit foggy, but I see them. I can see my elementary school principal's face perfectly clear, Mr. Putman. All that is unimportant now. All that is unimportant now. Seeing, hearing, breathing, I'm perfectly aware of everything around me. I'm in tune with things in a way that is hard to describe. It's like soft, tangible feelings. I realize now that I haven't been hearing words from, it's Mr. DeCola, another one of my neighbors, and I haven't been answering with words of my own. Mr. DeCola used to let me drive his boat on the river where we both lived. It was 16 feet long with a wood-stained bow. A couple of feet beyond, in the midline, existed a bench-style seat that was sunk to the wood frame with a steering wheel. And then in the aft, a wood-stained engine compartment. Those were good times. I wonder, as wonder continues to occupy, nothing at all is important except this feeling. It's what it feels like to grow. The shapes are no longer foggy, they are other souls, I know that now. The souls pull on me as if they get too close. I remember to stick close to Peter, Theodore's younger brother. The youngest of the 5 farm boys, Peter was 2 weeks older than me. We built many a fort, milked some cows, harvested some crops, de-egged chickens, that sort of thing. We were 2 parts of a trio. The 3rd person involved in our trio was my best friend, James. We 3 spent many an hour on that farm, especially Pete, who lived there, but it was also my home away from home. I can actually feel the memory because of this place. In fact, the person that is leading me now is Jim. He's with me again, of course, in memory of life. The souls pulling on me are themselves being pulled. Their reaction is such. While it's still difficult to see it in their faces, I watch them struggle against the force. The force seems to condense and strengthen in the process of pulling on them. I suppose that is the force that I thought was pulling on me. It is not the souls themselves doing the pulling. Jim reaches out a hand toward me, but I cannot respond in kind. I haven't really been able to move my arms. My legs are moving, but like a low gear ratio, the surrounding environment is moving much faster than my leg movement can explain. As with my lungs, I don't think I need to move my legs at all. But I sure would like to grab Jim's hand. In the trying, I do move my fingers a little. I'm leaning on a lamp, and it think I look a tramp. I hear a song, at least. I hear a memory of a song that I heard Jim sing once. We were in our early teens, and he was trying to impress one of the neighbor girls, Cindy Abner. Or maybe you think I'm bound to steal a car. As the memory plays on, I see Jim snapping his fingers. I look down at my own hands and see my fingers snapping too. I believe Jim is helping me. As I snap my fingers, my hand is slowly moving away from my body and towards Jim's hand. That's when I saw the emptiness. My eyes are closed. Everything I see is perceived in some new way, so the emptiness I'm trying to describe just looks flat. It's just an area that isn't filled in, like a curtain. Now that I have a reference point, it's much easier to determine everyone's direction and speed. It seems that the further away the souls are from the flat spot, the slower and less chaotic are their movements. Those close to the flatness are moving quickly and jerkily, and the straining I could sense in the souls earlier seemed to be an attempt to escape the pull of the flatness. In contrast, the other direction was deep and full, though still seemingly impenetrable. It was difficult to tell which direction I was heading, but there was no pull from the deep, only from the flat. I did not want to panic and appear to be like all the other souls. Some of them were alone, and some of them were following a partner, as I seemed to be. The ones with partners were otherwise no different than those alone. Some of each kind were near the flat, and others of each kind were near the deep. Most were somewhere in the middle with me. I could not tell if there was an up or a down. There was just this way, or many other that ways. There was a direction that I had just come from, and apparently a direction I was heading to. Even basic right and left were difficult, as Jim was tilted a little off kilter, so my right would be more like right and a half to him. Because of the tilt, if we both looked straight over our heads, we would be seeing different areas of heaven. I tried hard to snap my fingers toward Jim's hand, whichever direction it was. It's as far as I've gotten so far. Thanks for the